Um, Sorry about that. So what I was saying is that on one side, you can think of you have to do entrepreneurship in this sort of certain way, right? If you're not getting venture capital funding and all that kind of stuff, then you're somehow not an entrepreneur. But then on the other side, you do what you have to do, or you do what you can with what you have in your fingertips, and it doesn't look pretty in any sort of way. There's nothing that is magical about it, and you do things with what you actually have. So for me, with the Reciprocity Project, with the Reciprocity platform, it costs an awful lot of money to do this. And, first of all, if I was to get developers in the United States, I couldn't afford it at all. That would be more than my own salary would be worth. And I couldn't afford to actually get them, right, to build the thing out. So, like a really good programmer salary is much more than what I make. And so I couldn't actually afford them. And I'd have to make do. So then you get somebody from another country. So I have a team from India that's actually pretty good. They're a good group of people. And then even still, right? Like I'm still spending a lot of money and a lot of extra money. So then, what else do you do? Well, I only have a certain amount of time in the day, and I spend it doing things, and I need to get the word out and tell people. Well, the time that I'm doing things, all of my extra time when I'm lying in bed, just about ready to go to bed, and when I'm, going for a walk, like everything is just all about it and figuring out how to do it. And all of my waking moments, other than when I work and I'm sitting down, is really thinking about this thing and figuring out how to get it done. And it doesn't look pretty, and there's nothing that's I often have insecurities about it. It was like, is this like, do people even care about it, basically? And I'd sort of identified that, yeah, not a lot of people actually do, but whatever, you start someplace. And it's really thinking about starting with one and then going on from there, right? And that's all of this kind of stuff is you have to, there's a lot of humility with it, right? Like knowing that you are really nothing. Nobody cares. You just do it anyways. You get up and you do it anyways, regardless of what people think and what they're saying, and your perceptions of them and all of that kind of stuff. And you just do it. And you do it every day, right? And you stand up and it's stupid, it's rinky-dinky, all of that kind of stuff, but you just do it. And you don't let anybody push you around, right? You just keep doing that every day. And I think that's the key. I just find it so frustrating, actually, in the whole academic game. They have these sort of perceptions of the way that the world works, and it's in fact, it's really snobbery, lots and lots of snobbery. And they sort of look down on anybody that's, having a hot dog stand and doing those kind of things. And frankly, that stuff's pretty awesome to me. And I think that is entrepreneurship through and through. And, the snobbery is that they don't think that anything like that is real business and real entrepreneurship. And, many times I've heard that kind of crap. And the truth is anything that you're trying to sort of build and get going and you're striving towards, that's you doing things that are very much important for you. And I think that's the key thing. I am convinced of that at this moment, and I think we're going to become increasingly more focused on that, or that's going to become more important as we sort of democratize large components of society due to digital technology. So, but I just want to sort of leave that there. Is often you sort of feel like you sort of feel like a failure along the way, but that's just like part of the process, is that you just keep going, you take those steps forward. You don't know what to do, you just do it anyways, right? Like, and there's not going to be any sort of magical thing that happens, and it's a sort of step-by-step process. And you let everybody watch you as they're sitting there doing nothing. All right, take care, and have a wonderful day. So I want to talk about when your entrepreneurial venture seems like it's failing. And I want to say that everything that you do will always feel that way. And I think that, like, so on two different ends of the spectrum, there are, entrepreneurial things that you could do that are actually pretty easy to do. And so you're probably not going to experience that feeling too much, right? Like you can cut grass, for example, or shovel snow. It's something that is completely entrepreneurial, and you make money quite quickly, and you get a good return from that. So it's unlikely that you're going to have that feeling, and it's a pretty good, entrepreneurial venture. Now, on the opposite side, there's like complicated things, right? Like a tech digital business, which is kind of what the Reciprocity Project is. And there's lots of moving parts with it, right? So it's figuring out how to get this thing to work, this platform to work, for example, making sure that there's not any problems with it, then figuring out how to get the word out. There's all sorts of different things that are going on. And it often feels, with that, because there's so many different moving parts, it can feel like you're failing with what you're doing. And that's literally, what it feels like, right? I'm building something, spending a great deal of time and effort and money on it, and it still doesn't work out. And it still feels like it doesn't work out. But I wanted to point out something that's interesting. So the first thing is like how you're measuring yourself is really important, right? So if I think about the number of transactions that are being made on the Reciprocity platform, there's not a lot of transactions that are being made on it, right? Like very, very few. And it's just, from a financial perspective, it's pretty much a flop at this point. But, I can't give up on that particular aspect of it. If I just look at it from a financial perspective, I could say that's a complete flop. But then if I change the metrics and look at something else, right, such as number of people that are that I've reached on the internet. So the digital economy, for example, looking at how many people have actually seen me and listened to something that I've done. There's clearly progress that's being made there, but there's still not any financial return that's significant in any sort of way from it. But, if you look at different ways and you think about different things, different metrics, you'll understand the world completely differently, right? And you'll have this different perspective on whichever metric you take. And so if you focus on one, it's very much likely that you're going to feel like a failure. That's troublesome. But then if you look at a different metric, you might think that you're doing okay. and it's adequate. So that's the first thing I wanted to point out. The second thing is that entrepreneurship, everybody thinks that there's like some sort of right way to do entrepreneurship. That what you need to do is be part of a accelerator or an incubator or, get venture capital or whatever. And that's the only way that you have to be an entrepreneur. But, from my perspective, and I might have a unique perspective,